Continuum Project. We'll be following some of the world's best climbing talent around the globe to document bold new routes and daring repeats on ice, rock, and in the Alpine.
Norway is home to some of the largest waterfall ice climbs in the world. Throughout the winter months, climbers from around the world travel here to test and hone their skills by repeating classics and establishing new lines. Veteran ice climber Guy Lacelle has traveled here with his friends and climbing partners Audrey Gariepy and Mathieu Audibert of Quebec. For 2 weeks, they'll travel through Norway in search of long, steep, frozen waterfalls. After flying into Oslo and renting their car, they decide to head inland to the town of Emsedal, where a classic grade 6 ice climb named Hidnefossen stands 180 meters in height. For most visiting ice climbers, Hidnefossen would be the grand finale of their trip, but for Guy, this is just a warm-up. He decides to free solo this climb, meaning he will leave his partners, rope, and protection at the base. This type of climbing is very demanding even for the best of climbers. One mistake while soloing, and it will be your last.
Oh, the climb was hard today, and also hard to have a handle on it. A lot of the ice was settling while climbing, so a lot of time I'd send a fracture line and the ice I was on would just move a little bit, and logically it shouldn't fall off, but it sure was scary. And usually I don't like soloing stuff that I would get scared on. Usually it's intense but not scary, and today, because I couldn't control what was happening with these fractures, it must have happened like 10 or 12 times where the ice settled while I was climbing it. It was nerve-wracking and not as much fun as usual. So, in general, the soloing is not as intense as that. It's or as scary as that. So I don't like getting scared like that. So if it was always like that, I probably wouldn't be soloing as often as I do. But I just know that in 30 years, it's the first time I see the ice reacting like that. So most likely it's not gonna happen again. At the end of a solo, I like to think that it was safe and it was good and that I enjoy myself, and I can't say that today. but in general, I really enjoy myself when I'm soloing. So you just gotta take that as another experience and learn from that.
And so with rumors of cooler coastal weather, the team decides to pack up and drive to Eidfjord.
Ça parlait à sortir gros. Il check ça continue. Si j'ai mal. Bah toi dedans, toi dedans.
Audrey, that's the most long, steep ice I've seen even in Norway. Like in the last stretch of road, all these big routes. I've never seen that ever.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're at the perfect timing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good. So we start tomorrow with one. We have 10 days left. We do one every day until we're totally dead.
Yeah. No more rest days.
Yeah.
It's time to revolt, take the bolt out, it's holding it all together. Deception's lurking on the premises, some claiming evolution, others reading Genesis. When's this fighting gonna end? See my dreams and aspirations, kill the wars between the nations. And to top it all off, they got the stations broadcasting, we're making up sensation. Well, excuse me, but it's time to watch the fighting. Make sure it's right when the good takes over. You know evil sin to begin to creep in and win. Bring the dark clouds, covers guard in the feet. Well, excuse me, but it's time to watch the fighting. Make sure it's right when the good takes over. You know evil sin begin to creep in and win. Bring the dark clouds, bring the dark clouds. War tears people apart. And in a nasty way, war brings people together like 1984. George Orwell could tell. Make a common enemy, raise a flag in unity. Born just a child, traits by heredity. We know what's down, but do we really know what's up? Who wants to join the system if the system is corrupt? Oh, excuse me, but it's time to watch the fighting. Make sure it's right when the good takes over. You know evil sin to begin to creep in the wind. Bring the dark clouds, covers guard in the beating. Well, excuse me, but it's time to watch the fighting. Make sure it's right when the good takes over. You know evil sin begin to creep in the wind. Bring the dark clouds, bring the dark clouds. All those things that tomorrow brings, we're here today instead. We don't have to turn too many pages to see the stages that this play's been in. The world keeps on spinning, listen to the sky. Heart keep pumping and heart keep breathing in. Heart keep pumping and heart keep breathing in.
Hello, my name is Audrey. I'm a hot climbing chick from Quebec. Lately I've been climbing in Norway. Today I'm climbing with Guy Lacelle. He's an old climber, but it's good to get him out of the house and get some colors, you know. Plus now he gets so scared, it's really good for his bowel movement. I'd like to say too that, you know, women nowadays, we climb almost as well as the men. No, actually, we climb as well as the men. Oh, fuck it, let's be honest, we climb way better than the men. We also have more hair and we look a lot better, see?
Hello, I'm Guy Lacelle, blah blah blah. Nice.
That was the first two we did, huh? That's 4 days ago. Probably none of those last 4 climbs are doable anymore.
It changed so much around here, like in the past 2 days. I don't even recognize the place. It's like, whoa,
Yeah,
where are all
so
those
many
amazing ice climb?
Well, that's why I was saying when these were formed, it was good to climb one every day because
yeah.
it doesn't last. You never know
for
what.
sure.
I compared to Canadian Rockies where it stay cold all the time. Here it goes from one extreme to another.
With the weather warming and the ice melting, the team knows their opportunity to climb here is coming to an end. So without delay, they decide to climb one more big route. They find an unclimbed 300-meter grade 6 frozen waterfall tucked away in the Jolmo Valley just outside Eid Fjord. Finding such an enormous unclimbed line is a dream come true for these climbers. The crux of the climb turns out to be the approach, as it takes them 4 hours to reach the base of the climb.
It's tracking good.
Tracking good.
For a well-deserved rest day, the team meets up with local guide Marius Olsen, where he teaches them how to kite ski. With a little help from Marius to show them the ropes, they quickly pick up the sport. Well, some of them.
This is more fun than training at the gym for sure.
Put it on a hill beside the rolling field, and I'll daffodil. Put a candle in the
Hi, my name is Lacelle. Welcome to Amsterdam, Norway. We're doing some kite skiing today with Audrey and Mathieu. And I did first ascent on that track right there as a solo first ascent. It's really fun to be with these guys kite skiing. It's a good trip.
Ma face de Zoulander. Non, pas l'imitation. Minute.
Zion is unlimited as far as the potential for new routes, and if you feel like the Indian Creek scene is beating you down with too many people, you just go down to Zion and you have the whole place to yourself. So it's just fun adventure. You know, you feel like you're somewhere else, and it's just so beautiful. You can't pass it up. So I'm drawn to Zion. I think I'll always be drawn to Zion.
That's Mount Kinnisava. As you drive in from the road, it kind of looks like it's like the west face of the West Temple, but it's not. It's its own separate peak. We're looking at the west face. Probably the most obvious line is King Corner, which is a very prominent dihedral, kind of runs from top to bottom of the whole wall. So our route is to the left of that. It's the next major crack system to the left on that pretty clean looking face. This is going to be a first ascent, so some of the routes we've done in the past are usually established routes, and we go in there and just, you know, try to free the aid pitches. So this is a new route from the start.
I remember the first trip to Moonlight Buttress, I was like, I have no business even trying this. And then in the end, I had pretty good success, and I was like, wow, I think I could do this sometime. But then there you get on a route, and all of a sudden you're terrified out of your mind, and then someone's like, yeah, this is a trade route. And you're like, what? There's no good placements. It's sandy and it's scary, and I'm gonna pull a bunch of gear. But you know, that's what makes it Zion, where you have that satisfaction of getting to the top. It's not guaranteed. And I think that's one of the really cool things about climbing in Zion is there's nothing guaranteed about it.
I bet you it's not above 40 yet.
I got a thermometer.
You brought a thermometer?
Mm-hmm. It's just, I keep it in my pants.
You know, I just keep it on my zipper, like when I was 6. Don't worry, you won't be pulling it, triggering it that much.
Yeah, it'll be like about like that. So.
Just barely. I got 2 of each of those. Here you go. Here's some more. My dental floss. My nice new cordelet. I think I have something like 8 bad pieces in a row. Feel like it's my time to get a good one. Well, let's hope that doesn't break. Watch me!
Pitch 1, we had kind of, we had let up the route, placed some protection bolts where absolutely necessary, and Mike didn't place a bolt where I wanted a bolt. He just didn't place it at all. So I got up to that point and was expecting a bolt, and realized that it was going to be terrifying. And as I climbed on through and pitched repeatedly off the gear, saying, "Hey, Mike, this was that spot I said you're supposed to put a bolt here." And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't think you needed one." And then he kind of said, "Oh yeah, now I think you needed one."
9 times out of 10, I hate bushes. Right now, I'm kind of liking this one.
It's that sense of adventure that really keeps me coming back to do new routes. And I just get inspired by guys like Alex Lowe and, Skinner, who just went out there and did the firsts in these remote locations, Leighton Core. I mean, those guys went everywhere and climbed everything. Becky, you can't list a place that they haven't been. And it's kind of just humbling. You're like, I'm just scratching the surface trying to make the most of my time, because they went out and made the most of their time.
Right now, there's a lot of stuff to be done. There's a lot of potential out there to be snatched by the person who's got the initiative to go out there and find it and try it. And 10 years from now, there's not going to be as much of this stuff out there. There's routes right now just sitting there waiting to be climbed that aren't super difficult. You don't have to be a full-time professional climber to be able to climb them.
It's all going to be off, like, bumpy in there, so if you go to the hand, it'll be more so.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That doesn't look solid.
But
Yay, I'm gonna live.
Most pitches are technical, meaning, yeah, there's a crack, yeah, you're climbing the crack, but you got to do everything right. You can't just jam and go. It's a little bit overhanging, it's thin corners, it's some dihedral. You're kind of pulling a roof now and then the kind of dihedral pinches out to a non-existent crack where you're just placing gear in little features on the face, and you're kind of doing nearly dead vertical, techie, almost slab climbing, and you're kind of terrified because it's Zion. And you go in and blow all the dust off the holds or the sand, and then when you go to climb it, there's a bunch of dust and sand on the holds. Then you go to step on it and press it out, and there's a bunch of dust and sand on the holds.
Yeah, I got like good gear here if I want it. Not that hard.
And there's a pitch that's just black patina for about 100 feet. That's absolutely amazing. Splitter crack to protect the gear with finger locks and patina going all the way up. And it's just spectacular at about mid-height of the route.
kind of a golden age, I think, of this long free climbs. There's a lot of stuff that's just starting to catch on, and people are going out and looking for stuff. So for me, it's worth it to spend some extra time to, you know, drive in or go in places to be able to get these routes while they're still available.
In the rock, like I said, you're gonna find the great stuff, and you're gonna find the stuff that's gonna terrify you. But that's what Zion is. It's not perfect Yosemite granite where everything's nice and hunky-dory. I mean, you might pull on a flake, and that flake's gonna come out with you. So, you know, you just have to be prepared for the unexpected.
Oh, sure, the big question everyone's wondering is this flake gonna come out of my face? I too am wondering.
No, if it comes out, try to push it to the left.
No! Get in here. Yes, yes. Oh my God. This is turning out to be quite energetic. It's really wide. Oh my God.
You know, as we all know, in climbing, just the physicalness of the moves isn't the only thing that you're dealing with when you're rock climbing. Higher on the route, there's some off-widths that aren't well protected, and they're awkward, and you know, they'll get you breathing hard, and you'll also be a little scared. So those are probably going to be just as challenging overall as the hardest technical pitch. You know, the wider sections, you need to be pretty solid because the gear's not really good. There was one pitch where, you know, Rob led that he was able to place cams, but they weren't very good. They were really tipped out. So you want to be pretty solid on that size. You're not going to feel really comfortable, and aiding those sections would be really difficult.
I'm gonna puke. What do I gotta do to get up here, dude? I'm fucking destroyed. Oh. Looks like this is home sweet home. Off the way!
I think off-width climbing can be considered ugly and physical. I see a lot of people trying to be very delicate and very gymnastic and precise, where off-width climbing is about getting it done. And it's pretty much whatever it takes. If you've got a chicken wing, you got a chicken wing. If you've got to come out full-on bloody ankles, forearms, and face, then that's what you're gonna do to get up it.
Ride my pony? Oh my God, you had to do it with like 100 pounds of gear on. Oh my God. That was the best part.
The key to climbing a chimney is do not flail. Stay relaxed. Like this, see? There we go. Okay. This is how I'm gonna do it. That feels like it's gonna break. Yeah.
What I love about doing new routes or trying to do first free ascents is that each pitch you do is like a new discovery, and it's just, you know, pioneering new territory, just like, you know, Christopher Columbus was doing 500 years ago. To me, that's sort of the essence of our sport. I don't know what it is, but there's always something special about doing something first. It just feels more worth it. You know, I can go out and work on a 511, and if it's to repeat a 511 at Shelf Road, it's like the experience isn't that rewarding. But if it's a first ascent, there's always something special about it because it's a new discovery, and you feel like you're contributing something to the climbing community and the climbing resource.
for sure. Damn you, girl, living here.
Yeah, I started climbing because I wanted to live out of my backpack. I just wanted to travel around, not have a lot of stuff. I just wanted to be a dirtbag, and the climbing lifestyle really fit that.
Being here is really fun for me because I have this surge of energy because I've wanted to be here for so long, and then climbing with Sarah and seeing all of her energy and just her desire to go. And it's good to feed off of that. And I think that's how you choose partners sometimes, is you pick people based on, you know, how they complement you and what they can give that you can't necessarily drum up in your own personality. It's easy.
There's a certain fear to all difficult drag climbs. I don't necessarily like being scared. I like being calm and at peace. But there's something about challenging myself that brings me that peace, and danger is definitely a part of that.
2 hot coffees that turn to heat down, sweat short breath and notice the parade. I came for you to tell this story, for you to sell to all your friends for laughter. I would meet you on a corner after hours. I know I seem crazy, but I know I'd amaze you. I know that it does not show, but I'm funnier than all the jesters dancing. I'm cooler than the shoulder you gave my chances, articulating all the poets chanting you.
Like, I think about it a lot, and I just have this nervous feeling until, like, the minute my hands touch the rack, and then I don't think about anything else, just getting to the next point.
Yeah, call me that. Yeah. Delario. Shit. Yeah. Area. Yo, it's Delario. Call me the rhyming professor. When I be stepping on stage, the whole crowd goes bananas. A vocalist shines so much, you need a pair of sunglasses. My shit is way tight like a nun's asses. The master man with a master plan. Drop dead gorgeous, even today I'll be put in a casket, man. You're not flying enough to be down with us to the place that we are from. You would never even see it like the anus of your son. Pay some attention to this man when he's testifying. I'm testing mine, so far can I stretch these lines? How cryptic can I get with it before these stars won't fetch these lines? The best in line with these impressive rhymes. I'm the bomb, so you better not fucking mess with time. Impressive and a blessing at the same time. I raise minds. A 2-week dose of Delario will take life. So why you suicidal or not, make up your mind.
Faller her, men jeg skriver på de der så fucker opp hele norsk hiphop sin ære. Ha. Hiphop er min ektefelle, men jeg pier på at Oslo voldtar henne. Kom til Bergen, verk sa det ordet, for det går boom, 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 man. Jeg delte ut cans til Nestun Boys, gratis, når jeg jobbet som en SO-boy. Nestun Toys, ruller rundt på Nestun nå, rullebrettiden er inne for caps og sånn. Korte bukser, hvite lange tees. I&I Bergen by, du kan finne meg på stis. SB på min høyre og venstre, så hiphop i min by varer lenge.
To see your energy and just be like, oh, that looks good, I'll just go up it, you know, and it's different than I think all the different things that I'm thinking of, which is, it's probably good for me to be around that, because I think I've been guiding for so long and thinking about risks and managing other people's risks that I have a hard time turning that off and just being like, wow, that's really cool, let's go up it. And I'm always like, okay, yeah, that looks really cool, but oh yeah, that looks like a sketchy traverse and there's this block and you know, it's all that other stuff.
Oh, definitely. Sometimes after I've had really gnarly experiences, I have to take a couple days, sometimes a week off, and just really think about things and just be thankful I'm alive, thankful that even though shit hit the fan, it didn't really hit the fan. I've been involved in some pretty gnarly experiences, but I've come out of it really lucky and have personally never been injured seriously on the rock. But every time I watch someone else involved in an accident, it really makes me question what I do and why I do it. My brain is like a non-stop train. It just never stops running. And climbing's one of the only things I've found in life that allows me to completely let go and focus on something other than life, other than what's going around me. I guess I don't ever have an agenda with climbing. Climbing is a huge part of my life. It's what allows me to be who I am. And I don't know, some people get caught up in everyone else in their sport and why they do this and that, but climbing for me, it's definitely a very personal thing.
New wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and around. New wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and around. New wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and
Kathmandu. We arrive here in the company of 3 of the top ice climbers in the world, German climber Ines Papert and Canadian climbers Jen Olsen and Audrey Gariepy. These 3 women have decided to team up in the Himalayas in hopes of climbing a new route on the north face of Kwangde Lo. The north face was first climbed in December 1982 by Americans Jeff Lowe and David Brashears. This face continues to have a reputation for being a very committing and demanding wall, and in winter it's not uncommon for temperatures to reach -30 degrees. After several days in the city visiting historic sites and purchasing food and gear for their expedition, they fly into the village of Lukla, from which they begin their trek to base camp.
well, you could walk the whole earth and keep walking, sail across the ocean and keep going, keep moving, keep floating, keep searching for the edges of the system that we live in. You could walk the whole earth and keep walking, sail across the ocean and keep going, keep walking, keep floating, keep searching for the edges of the system that we live in. You might see a fist raised, you might see the last days, or the unification of an entire nation. You might hear someone say what you've been thinking, but in a new way.
I thought about a women's expedition with 1 or 2 other girls, and I have heard some from Nepal, from ice climbing in Nepal, and I've seen photos, and I was really excited to come one day to Nepal to climb a new route in the Himalayas. So I was psyched that Jen and Audrey finally confirmed, and I'm happy being here.
For me, the goal of this trip was to get out climbing with 2 super talented ice climbers, Audrey and Ines, and to have an adventure in the Himalayas on a spectacular peak and try to get to know each other a bit better and push ourselves in the Alpine.
I've climbed a lot in the Rockies and like a lot of rock climbing here and there too, but for expedition in the winter Alpine style, it's my first time on a big expedition.
There's some ice, like there's some pretty good ice connecting the snow.
Retreat and then repeat to keep thieves wealthy and consistently stealing from the ones in need. Maybe it's time to walk again until the edges. You can walk the whole earth.
Being a man on this kind of expedition, I'm just a piece of meat, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but that's my role. That's my role, and I gotta live with it.
Yeah, sure.
Are they really dirty or freshly washed?
Icebreaker. They double as a frisbee.
Why am I holding on to your dirty paws?
No, man.
I'm done.
It's exciting. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of new stuff for me, so can't wait to see how it's gonna go. And it looks like a beautiful line, so pretty excited to go there, see what's gonna happen.
It's exciting, but also kind of something new, kind of a challenge. You never know what's going on and how the conditions are. But I feel good.
It'll just be fun to get out of the valley bottom and get up on this beautiful mountain. I think we're wise to bring all the pitons we're bringing. I don't see too much ice up there.
It's a lot of organization and a lot of time to not so much climbing. I'm not used to that so much. Usually I go on trip and I climb almost every day and I rest because I'm tired of climbing. So that is a bit the opposite, like lots of rest, and then finally 2 days of intense climbing. Yeah, I'm not sure, actually, I wasn't sure. Do you bring your little camera?
It's a snow girl. I mean, is there any reason for a snowman? Okay. Take care of us.
Bye. Bye. See you again.
It's so much easier in winter to get upset, get annoyed, get in troubles with yourself and getting motivation problems because you get up in the morning and it's cold, go to bed in the evening and it's cold and you're always freezing. And especially on the climb, you don't bring in enough warm clothing because you want to be fast, you want to be light. Tomato soup first and then cold pad thai. Yummy. Oh, 6 o'clock already. Yay. Yay. It's gonna be a long night.
The morning when I was in my sleeping bag, already cold, and I knew I had to get out of my sleeping bag and be colder. No, that I didn't like that part. But every other time when we had to cook at night, just setting the tent, like having to prepare everything, climbing, and like that was pretty cool. You ready, Ines?
Yeah, but I don't see the second humor. Maybe.
I think it's just right under your helmet, Audrey.
The climbing was sometimes really nice, sometimes scary, because we had really hard conditions. The ice was very thin and not always attached to the rock. And you know exactly when you put an ice screw in, it's not even better than nothing. But the climb itself, I really enjoyed every single pitch I could lead.
Yeah, the climbing was very cool. Like lots of sections were very steep. A lot of the climbing was on very hard snow.
You know, just perfect styrofoam neve. And some of the ice was pretty fun, really mentally challenging to always be using rock protection while climbing little bits of ice and snow. And just putting it all together. It was definitely a mixed climb with challenging protection. And every pitch, we didn't know if it would go.
I feel proud we could climb the route as high as we did on that conditions. But when we reached that point where we had to decide to go down, it hurt so much at this moment because it felt so close to the summit and we just had to climb 300 meters in the sun. We climbed 4 days in the shade and then as soon as we saw the sun, we had to go down. That really was kind of a painful moment. So much work, so much effort in so many days. And then to bail 300 meters before the summit. That was one of the harder moments in my life. This mountain is so big and it's so much colder in the night, and you have such a harder time to get an orientation. So we had to decide to come down. That was a team decision.
Our expectations of the time it would take to summit this mountain, we just didn't quite get it right, and so we cut ourselves a bit short with our timing and our food and that kind of thing.
And I knew it was probably our last chance, because everybody spent so much energy, so much effort into that attempt that I didn't expect that somebody wanted to do it again.
My left foot was a bit colder than my right, but I never thought that it was that bad. I was so surprised when I took my sock off and I saw that. I was, wow, I wasn't ready for that at all. Yeah, you know, when you're up there and you see that, there's not much you can do. I just try to warm my toe as much as I can and just try to send energy there all day, move my toes, and try to come down as fast as we could, but we still have to rappel, so it takes time.
I think I should wash my hands after 3 days. Today we got friends here in the base camp. They passed us and said hello, Simone Mo and Denis Rupko. They're gonna try to attempt the Makalu in winter. And I think when they arrived, it was a hard moment to motivate yourself to go back to the mountain to try that again, because you know how cold it's gonna be, you know how hard it's gonna be. But when they arrived, they just kicked my ass. I mean, it was such a very deep moment. So sometimes it helps a person or a good friend or somebody else is talking to you and tell yourself you're gonna be proud if you do that again, if you try to get to the summit, if you at least try it again. And I feel I have to try again. So Cory is more than happy to join me, so we're gonna try. And nobody knows how it's going to be. I hope for good weather, for maybe a little bit easier conditions. I think the route is not going to be easier. It's going to be harder, but I've learned a lot on the other route. Yeah, it's a different style of climbing. 3 people is on one hand easier, on the other hand harder. It's going to be different and cold, probably very cold, but we expect to climb more or less 5 days, so we are prepared for 5 days with gas, food.
Is it the system that I'm twisting, or just the words inside my head? Am I doing that again? What have I made up in my head? Is that the system that I'm twisting, or just the words inside?
Can't really set up the tent. Just have to let it hang. It's private time for me, blowing in my boot. Why are you filming me?
Need to look at myself. Oh, it's big. Oh, that was a hard night. Oh. Let's say cold, windy.
Cold, windy.
Waiting for sunrise.
Horrifically uncomfortable. Worst baby I've ever had.
Sliding down all the time.
I think approaching it when you're going at it with the mindset that you're going to be up there longer is a little bit easier, rather than trying to say, okay, we're going to do it super fast, we're going to get it done, and then having that disappointment of, oh, you know, we don't have enough stuff, or we're running out of fuel, or, you know, whatever your problem happens to be. So I think we're just going a little bit heavier for 2 people, but also, you know, with a little bit more realism in the approach. It's new ground, we don't know anything about it, so the likelihood of that taking a little bit longer is, I think, very real.
Cory, was machst du da?
Auf Deutsch?
Ja.
Oder Scheiße, ich weiß nicht. Digging. It's our home for the night.
Am I doing that again? What have I made up in my head? Is it the system that I'm twisting, or just the words inside my head?
For me, this kind of climbing is the hardest. I mean, I could put in all my experience I have learned from hard mixed climbing, so that way I wasn't so scared. But I think that kind of climbing is for sure the hardest I have ever done.
It was everything, you know, you want an alpine climb to be. There were some hard, scary sections. There was some easy, fast terrain. Nothing too desperate, but everything in the mix to make you think. So it was really, really good. It was cold. It was really cold. Miserable cold, and the bivvies sucked, every single one of them. But it was fun. It was fantastic. It was a hard 5 days, but very worth every ounce we put into it, I think.
I heard you say, thought I heard you say that you tend to lose track of the days. Well, I lose track of the days, and my emotions go up on display. So know, how do you know?
Give me a smile.
Yeah.
Right here.
Look at this. Kwangde Shar, 6,040 meters. New route. Oh, we need a name for our new route. Kwangde Shar. For me, is success means being on the summit, and that means I can be proud of myself. We can be proud as a team. It's hard to tell right now if I'm gonna do an expedition like this again, because it takes so much time to get used to the altitude, to keep healthy, to put so much effort into it, and especially in winter. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that again in the next 2 years, but let's say all this pain you usually forget.
The Canadian Rockies are an absolute playground for ice and alpine climbers. On this trip, we follow local climbers John Walsh and Ian Wellstead into Icefall Brook. Icefall Brook is a remote valley approximately 50 miles due north of Golden, British Columbia. In 1993, Dave Thompson first explored the ice climbing potential of the valley, but few climbs have been established since due to the difficulty of approaching the area in winter. Icefall Brook is only a 35-minute helicopter ride from John's home in Golden, so he's now re-exploring it and realizing just how many potential routes the valley harbors.
February 28th, 2009, and we're waiting for the helicopter. It's been 5 days in here so far. The weather was definitely the big story of this trip. A couple days of full-on storm, which we knew, we kind of expected. It was gonna snow a little bit on us. First day we got out, we got a little bit of climbing in the storm. Kept us close to camp, but we still had some fun. And then the winds picked up, crazy winds, Patagonian-esque. Probably the strongest winds I've ever felt in this range anyways.
Well, when we flew in, the pilot asked us if we really wanted to fly because it was snowing like crazy. And I guess the weather synopsis was there was a cold front coming in, hitting a warm front, and they were sort of battling it out. And the cold front definitely won. Apparently we radioed Icefall Lodge, I think it's called, and they had no wind whatsoever. We had some of the strongest winds I've ever seen in the Rockies. And a couple of days, we couldn't really do anything. The one day we literally just hunkered down and tried to make sure that the tents didn't blow away.
Well, we're in here on a 6-day trip, and the storm of the century, it seemed like, came in yesterday, the day before, blew everything to smithereens, including our tent igloo, tarp igloo, and got up this morning. We knew we were a little low on propane for our propane blast furnace heater, and then we realized that we ran out of propane in total, so that was the best part of it all. We're eating cereal, bagels, and drinking cold water, but now we're in the sun, so everything is much better.
Yeah, last night was cold, man. Probably the coldest one. But the good news is we don't have any propane left, so it doesn't matter what happens now. Cold, warm, well, we're just gonna be cold from here on out. And we have raw burgers if we wanna suck on those like popsicles.
This is probably only about the 5th ever ice climbing trip in here. And there's just ice everywhere, as you can see. A lot of stuff hasn't been done yet, and so that's part of the reason why we're here. What we have above us is probably a 400-meter unclimbed waterfall.
Getting back here into a place like this, Icefall Brook, and knowing there's all kinds of stuff to do that hasn't been done before. No one's ever been on these waterfalls and mixed routes before. So having really limited information and not even like having really good weather forecasts or anything, you know, you just go out and you go climbing and you're just in the elements and doing your thing.
There are a lot of issues you have to deal with in the Rockies: weather, people working, conditions, getting to routes, things like that. So there are still some routes left to do, but to see this many routes unclimbed in one concentrated place, this is definitely the most ice in a small canyon I've ever seen.
I started ice climbing the winter of 99-2000. I pretty much averaged in a winter, say, 40 to 50 days a year on ice and mixed in the winter in the Canadian Rockies.
We ended up doing one of the more straightforward routes that had some really nice classic climbing on it. I think if more people came in here, they'd find that there are hard routes and also moderate routes. And the one we did was probably somewhere in between grade 5 with some mixed sections that weren't difficult but were interesting. You could probably come back every year for 10 years and spend a week here and not do all the lines that are around.
It's just this beautiful fat waterfall that pours off the ice cap, sracks above it. They're far enough back, they're not really threatening it. But yeah, it's just serac fed down this big black limestone cliff. Really pretty, really aesthetic. I just love climbing. Yeah, just the movement. I'm really into the movement of it. It feels good. It feels like it's the best thing for me. Love the feeling of being out in the elements and like getting slapped around a bit by them and everything. It just feels real. It feels good. Love it. To do it forever, basically, as long as I can.
John's super solid. I like his approach. He goes for it. He's very fast, very efficient. And I like climbing with different people. You get different influences from different people, see how different people do things, their specialties, maybe slightly different ideas. And literally just having people to get out with is difficult sometimes. You know, we all have lives that include other things apart from climbing. So to make the time to go climbing together is sometimes difficult, but when you get to go, it's usually really good.
Oh yeah, he's a great partner for sure. He's got a lot of experience and he's done lots of really cool routes. We've both done a lot of the same routes, just not together. So we know we're pretty much on the same page when it comes to getting the job done.
Oh yeah, well it's probably 450 meters long. Generally, that's kind of what sets super classic routes apart from not so classic routes, is that we climbed probably 7 or 8 pitches back to back.
It might be a little lopsided. But voila, that's gotta seat 4 men. Completely annihilated right now. My legs don't want to work. Full day, really good day. Good weather. Guys sent. Got some photos. We barely had enough motivation to make a fire and make hamburgers because last night, well, you and I had Velveeta cheese and frozen salmon on bread. And the bread, the cheese, and the salmon was frozen, and I still can't get the sound it made each time I bit down of it out of my head. It still makes my skin crawl.
I mean, it's only been like, what, minus 20 every day?
Yeah, definitely better than
These
an hour ago.
have the potential to be the best burgers ever.
Yeah, I think the Scappa's the more original. Like Macallan, you can get more or less anywhere.
This is a bit smoother, I find.
Yeah, I think I'd go for that one.
Nice fall brook. This is what? Heli camping.
Except we were roughing it like backpackers though.
Perhaps worse.
I've got like lists of things I want to climb that'll keep me busy for the rest of my lifetime.
For those who want to get out in the big mountains and climb big routes, I can look around and see probably 10 8-pitch routes right here waiting. And there's a deluxe lodge with sauna 2 hours down the valley.
We're at Lion's Head,
which is a climbing area on the Bruce Peninsula
between Lake Huron and the Georgian Bay
in Ontario, Canada.
You're basically walking on a flat trail with all these tree roots and little like gnomes, and you come to the cliff edge and you look for your climbs, which it reminds me a lot of the Verdun, because once you wrap in, you got to get out. So it's like, choose wisely. It's more of an adventure than just cragging. So it's like, it's more like a mission. You're going on a mission or an adventure. And the climbing's, it's just super fun. You have every different kind of climb you could possibly imagine.
It's a pretty small community of climbers, and not many people come up here to climb, so it's kind of like I guess a best-kept secret crag of Canada.
The climbing scene is probably one of the best parts about this place. Everybody's really motivated, really excited to have us here, and they're just super nice and genuine people. They're always just very welcoming, and they just want to show us their local crag and show us how great it is.
Hi, I'm Greg Williamson. I live in Lion's Head. Lived here most of my life. Been climbing at these crags for about 15 years, I guess. I usually get 3 hours after work and go out and try to do as many routes as I can in 3 hours, just to get a workout in and burn off some steam after a day of work. Lots of times I'm the only person out there. No hikers, nobody. It's pretty neat.
It's a good time to get together when the weather's nice, when the time is right. It's your time. Do with it what you like. Take flight, take a walk. Ride a train of thought. Ride it to the end of the earth or the block. Ride for a while with no destination in mind. See what you find when there's no place that you got to be. No place better than what you see. Please don't wake me up if I'm dreaming. I've got to ride this one into the morning sun and see what comes.
Most of Ontario climbing I'm not that keen on, but Lion's Head in particular is a pretty special place. It's probably the reason a lot of climbers stay in Ontario and don't move somewhere else, is to have that one good cliff, you know, with that great rock, great roots.
It's a good thing when your dream spins there from just dreaming to this is where my day begins. I've got a friend who saw it and caught it. You didn't let his ego interrupt the fragile moment. We'll make or break the bridge, place the cornerstone, the very rock that would travel so far from home. No ball and chain, just an ever so slight braid, enough to keep a train rolling back to where it came from. No locks and gates, a trail of breadcrumbs, just enough direction to follow the sun.
Once my ski racing career was over with, which was after college, I filled my life, or my passion with climbing, sort of took it over, and I've just been pursuing that full time ever since. Climbing is a 12-month a year thing for me. I think about it daily, and it's definitely consumes my life in a big way, I think.
Sam will try something over and over and over again until he gets it. And I think that might be one of his biggest strengths, is that he just keeps trying because he knows that he can do it. He has this like unrelenting belief in himself. And I think that's one of the reasons that he's been climbing so strong this season.
My favorite route that I did here is a route called Flying Squirrel. It was put up by a gentleman named Adam Reeve. Just a pretty special route, lots of movement that you rarely find on one route, and there happened to be a bunch of really big dynamic moves.
Where else do we got to go? And if we can't dream, then how are we supposed to know? And if we can't breathe, then how are we supposed to grow? Because in this life we spend so much time processing information that is in our minds, directly connected to the heart. That's where this engine starts and then it drives it from the dark. And one thing that nobody could take are these thoughts and these dreams that we got when we're not awake. You could take my life or my home, but you could never take my mind or my soul. Cause I'm dreaming, and anything can happen in less than a second. So every second's precious, I'm dreaming. There ain't no gravity, no sink or swim, but the earth keeps spinning. I'm dreaming of wiping out alarm clock buttons like a disease and letting the weary sleep. Letting the tired sleep. Cause I'm dreaming, and anything can happen in less than a second. So every second's precious, I'm dreaming. There ain't no gravity, no sink or swim, but the earth keeps spinning. I'm dreaming of wiping out alarm clock buttons like a disease and letting the weary sleep. Letting the tired sleep.
I mean, it's hard to do something that's above your limit if you don't believe that you can do it.
What up? I can teach these kids something. Seems like today, everybody wanna rap. Little kids, 14 years old, with mommy in the back. They're making one song, then uploading it on MySpace. Making a fly logo in Microsoft Paint. They ain't even heard of Big Daddy Kane. Roots, Nas, and Dre, maybe Kanye and Wayne. But my point here is that the so-called games attracting wannabes wanna feel so great. So cool, feel me? Rap is so in right now. And all you need is a class also microphone. For real though, I respect y'all kids. Just know, music ain't about how tough y'all feel. So you gon' rap, then please practice before y'all act like you're raw. Try to master the sport, got it? Maybe someday I can blast through the walls. Until then, kids, please leave the rap to the boss.
Cause when you rap, there's a cost. You'll get smacked if you floss. Find a map, cause you knew Jack's looking lost. So move back, I'm a resident in the game.
Oh, it's so cold. I don't know if you can see my fingers, but like I can't really feel them. Thank God it was like kind of big holes, but really they weren't big enough for a day like today.
I'm a sneaker from behind the game, homie, I'm a blast with stealth. I'll be thinking about the cash and wealth. Do I need it? Believe it. Keep your eyes peeled, cause people are seeing. Ain't nothing like this in the city streets. But graffiti is tagged, and these fiends is breathing a crack. Alphabet soup agency, souffle flaming beat. Cooking up rhymes, yo, the shit ain't fake, see? So I'm in it to win it. Drink a beer and I spit it. Unzip my pants, use my dick for the critics. Hand the motherfucking blunt and I flip it. Start flipping out until somebody ends up in the clinic. Yo, this the West Coast, Bay Area. Dropping bombs on your car's fast hysteria. Raise my voice and then I'll be scaring ya. Motherfucker, it's hilarious. What? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the detour, baby, better reach for some. It's 8 rappers on the beat from overseas and home. We on the scene, we gon' eat new MCs for lunch.
It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the detour, baby, better reach for some. It's 8 rappers on the beat from overseas and home. We on the scene, we gon' eat new MCs for lunch.
Are we making you niggas nervous, self-conscious just cause you ain't serving a purpose? Real monsters all on that flow shit, so sick. Y'all be on some hoe shit. Opposite Delario cause y'all really got no dick.
So go get popped up like a blowfish. American lyrical muscle from my toe to shoulders. You can't hold it, so drop it like it's hot. Yo, I spit it tight shit, cause I got it in a knot.
And a whole plot your squadron. Never really considered myself to be an MC, just thought I was a problem. But I'm not the real trouble. You call yourself a hustler and you never had to hustle.
The best thing about this place was that I finally got to meet Leslie, who has climbed with a bunch of my really good friends. Like, we've both been on each other's radars. We've heard about each other, but we've never met in person, and we've definitely never had the opportunity to climb together. And it was a really conducive climbing relationship. We both had like similar objectives, just to go out, climb new stuff every day.
The psyche might be the most frightening thing that we find in this delightful life stream is mighty. We all exist for a short blink. Still, look at all the shit that we all did. Psyche might be the most frightening thing that we find in this delightful life stream is mighty. We all exist for a short blink. Still, look at all the shit. It keeps hanging on her shoulders. It's getting heavier each year. She knows it's a hopeless load. Miss such bogus, hard to stay sober. Not much focus, damn. She's got a couple of laps left. Reading up on the map, stress is obvious, but not anonymous. A rock and roll goddess. A lot of soul in that woman, a lot of guts. She's about the part inside of us. She's hanging on, not childless. I'm proud of her. She's doing better than before. Doesn't hide her wrist. Life's been a roller coaster. Wonder what started it. Still, she got him on. She ain't fatherless. She's got a lot of skills for trying to look positive. It's hard, yeah. But don't you take shit for preachers, son. Can't compare your own struggle to a different one. Psyche might be the most frightening thing that we find in this delightful life stream is mighty. We all exist for a short blink. Still, look at all the shit that we all did. Psyche might be the most frightening thing that we find in this delightful life stream is mighty. We all exist for a short blink. Still, look at all the shit. Sure, she has a mood swing, stubborn as hell. Sometimes she can be such a rebellion. I'm not sure of a trigger to depressions, but I'm sure life taught her millions of lessons. But the pictures of experience, she thinks back and hesitates to live happily ever after. She's still far from a disaster. She keeps on trying to finish school. Society's a bitch when you don't fit the program. Life is a puppet show with more hands than puppets to control, and the stage for the place too small. Damn, until it all changes.
Come expecting a bit of an adventure. A lot of people get turned off because they expect it to be another roadside sport crag where, you know, they can walk up and instantly know where they are. But I think for people looking for a little bit more and want to, you know, don't mind having an occasional epic and think that's fun at the end of the day, and you know, have some stories to tell. You're gonna work a little harder to find your routes, and you're gonna probably get on the wrong route, and you're gonna get scared, and you may not climb as good as you normally do the first little while, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. I think the memories you'll get and the experience you get is a little richer than just every little sport crag that you go to. It's kind of what makes Lion's Head special, I think. Adventure sport climbing, really.
Together we can weather any stormy staring right back at me. And then you said, baby, I don't ever want this feeling to leave from us. You know I believe in us, and I don't want to worry about the steps that we've taken.